joined us. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV, an extended version, because we really need to have a conversation on local content with the Minerals Commission. We have a CEO, Mr. Martin Ayisi, with me here and on the show. Maybe I should rather start using his traditional title instead of...
here, my chiefdom doesn't stand here.
This one. But good morning, Martin.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good. My traditional, what do you call it, boundaries don't extend beyond to this place.
Okay. But some of your subjects are within the jurisdiction.
Of course.
Anyway, all right. So today is the birthday of one of your deputies. Shirley Che. She's your deputy, right?
Yes.
Today's her birthday.
No, I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. She
didn't
tell me. Maybe something will happen on income. I don't know.
A surprise. Okay.
From here, I'll check.
Yeah, so today is Shirley Che's birthday.
Send a message.
Okay. So we saw a picture, and some of our viewers says that she looks like a mineral.
She looks like a mineral.
A mineral.
Wow. What mineral?
I don't know. I don't know how lithium looks like.
You see.
How does lithium looks like? Is this solid? Is it?
Oh yeah. I don't know. Sometimes when you're explaining this, it's difficult.
It's difficult.
Maybe the next time I'll bring
some here.
Each mineral.
Yeah.
In the raw form.
Better, so we can see it properly.
Gold raw.
Yes.
You seen raw gold?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually looking for.
I'll come and show you some.
All right. Okay. It's also the birthday of the former MP for the Kankwe North constituency, Hussein Issa. Happy birthday to you. And Alhaji Haruna Ashaman, you're 71 today. Happy birthday. And yesterday was the birthday of lawyer and former chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mrs. Charlotte Osei. So belated happy birthday to you, Mrs. Charlotte Osei. All right. Okay. So, Martin, we had virtually wrapped up on the revised list, which is the 5th edition, if I'm correct, of the local content. That's edition 5.
Yes.
Yes. We had spoken extensively about that, and we had promised that the next edition, we were going to look at how Ghanaians can participate as far as local content is concerned. But maybe just to refresh our memories and those of our viewers, let's just take a quick recap, especially focusing on the new ones, the changes, as far as edition 5 is concerned.
Okay. The list, as you know,
and maybe for purposes of those who are watching for the first time, briefly the importance of local content in all this mineral discussion.
Okay. Let me put it this way. You see, we don't own most of the mines. By that I mean Ghanaians are not owners of the mines. So far, maybe 2. I can readily mention Ghana Bauxite,
okay,
which is now Ghanaian owned, state and Ghanaian owned, 100%. We are all proud about that. It's now in the hands of Ghanaians. Adamus in Zima, owned by Ghanaians. And Bibiani, yes, about half owned by Ghanaians. We would like to see more of that, and it's happening. So maybe the next 5 or so years, you see Ghanaians in terms of ownership getting there. So it's a matter of time. It's just a policy, staff and co. So if you have an industry that the receipts is more than at least 40% of everything that leaves this country, we're talking about $7 billion. It's going to be, 8, 9, even $10 billion in about a year or 2, outside even the investments. You don't owe the money, people bring the money from outside. Even in communist countries, when you invest, they will let you take your money. At least you can take that one away. So people bring in their millions. They take these monies from stock exchanges or some equity or hedge funds or some private equity somewhere in Europe or now Asia, bringing it in, high interest rate. The kind of interest rate they get in their country, they don't get it here because of the country risks and the assessment they do. Then those monies will have to go back. And then the data from Minerals Commission, our annual report shows that they pay maybe about $1 billion to government in everything, all the receipts. You can call it taxes, payee, whatever they pay, electricity, all those things, about $1 billion. And then they spend 3-4 times that in goods and services. I think you will be regarded as a very useless country if you allow these things to go outside. So if you're talking about receipts of 7 billion, and then about 4 or 5 billion is returned to this country, and about half or a little over half of that is spent on the procurement of goods and services, and you sit down for these things to be what? Imported, then you got it all wrong. So you don't own the mines, the goods and services, you don't have them. Look, at a point in time, they were importing bottled water. So like I would say, if you relax, okay, the accounts will say, oh, Jahunka, crazy, they will import everything, even if they have to import toilet roll. Because for them, that is business for somebody. So then we say, okay, let's have a local content policy regime where, as much as possible, most of the things they spend the money on can be either done here or be procured from Ghanaians. So then we came out with this local content law in 2020. Then we did some research and realized that no, many of the inputs they buy that run into several billions of dollars annually are these items, these services. So we said, okay, let's look at the capacity situation in Ghana. And then we did that. Then we realized that over the years, some of the items, so we'll put them in 3 categories. One, there are some areas where we think that Ghanaians now have the capacity to do it. So we said right from day one, no more foreign company or a foreign person will be allowed to do this. That's number one. 2, there are some areas where capacity is growing. And then we decided, okay, if there are about 3, 4, 5 companies, at least let's preserve some 10, 15, or 20%, as the case may be for Ghanaians. So with time, if we get about 4 or 5 people, because what we should also avoid is monopoly. When you do that and there is some quality issues, the mine will grind to a halt. That's why you see some will say 30% or 40% or 60% preserved for Ghanaians. Eventually it will become 100%. Then there's also another category where we will prefer you come here and set up, particularly those in the manufacturing, those who do this grinding media and all those tools that they use rather than importing them. And then we even went another level and we said, look, even where you have to import, give it to a Ghanaian. And that's why the companies complain. That is retailing, etc. But you see, I'll prefer for you to be rich than somebody from outside this country. So these are some of the measures that we put in place. And for some of the items, we think it's an insult to us as a nation. So here we are, we've been using gold even before the white man came. Okay, they said the Portuguese that came 1471 thereabout. These Ashantis have been using gold for centuries. And then apart from that, to Obuasi mine, 127 years. It still has so many years to go. The deeper you go, that's where the gold is. So they just have to invest in technology. So then I sit here and I ask myself, first country to get independent in sub-Saharan Africa, 1957. We have mines that are over 100 years old, still running. Ghana bauxite in the 1930s. So it's also getting to like 100 years, if you like. And then supply of fuel. Okay, so we sat down, we look at the data, and then we look into the report and realize that over $100 million is spent on fuel alone. You add lubricants, you are talking about 200 million. Now, I'm seeing 4 new mines in 2-3 years. Kadina, Azuma, Lithium, and a half north of Newmont. I'm seeing a lot of redevelopment of existing mines. I'm seeing expansion of existing mines. So I can predict and see that they may be spending about $300-400 million on just fuel supply and lubricants. Set up filling station and sell fuel to the mines. You want a foreigner to come and do that? No. So these are the things that informed. Just look at it. 50 items. lubricants and fuel alone, $200-300 million. It might even hit 500 as the mines expand. Contract mining, $1 billion. So that's about 1.45 billion. Just these two items. Catering services, $30-40 million. They eat a lot. So these 4 new mines, for example, they will soon, open tender for catering services. So you might see getting to $100 million. So if you don't owe the mine, you don't get so much in taxes and royalties because that is dependent on the price of the metal. You are not there yet when it comes to adding value where you get several times the raw material. And then you are being told that most of the money that goes into whatever they do everyday operations, these inputs, okay, they are running to, they take more than half of their budget. If you cannot capture that, then what else can you do? So once you get that right, you design a framework where you get more into ownership. And then for me, the next big thing is what I call capital raising. So then we should be asking ourselves, how come that we couldn't raise $500 million in Ghana here, or Cardinal couldn't raise $500 million in Ghana here, or Azuma that will start construction soon? They will need anything between $200 and $300 million. How can we raise the money here rather than take it from outside and then be giving us interest rates of 10 or 12%? Sometimes they take it from their parent company. So Randy PTI Australia gives $200 million to Randy Ghana Limited, and then charges interest on the loan 10%. So already he's creaming off. You understand all these things? Yes. So our mining policies and laws should be designed in such a way that most of the inputs should be done here, most of the money should be raised here. So Bibiani mine, which has been dead for 6 years, it's been an old mine. A group of Ghanaians came together and managed to raise CD equivalent of $140 million. The investor community was shocked because they sit in Canada there, they sit in Australia, and then they started asking themselves, how come that they were able to raise $140 million in cities? Randy, this money will not go out. And Bibiani is roughly about half owned by Ghanaians, institutions, and individuals. At the end of this year, they'll be doing anything between 220,000 to 240,000 ounces of gold. As I speak, the price of gold is over 1,900. Let's be even hopelessly conservative and use even 1,700. So just multiply 1,700 by even 200,000 ounces. How much is that? That's a lot of money. So nobody will have to go and pay, even if you have to pay interest on the loan. Okay? You're going to pay it to a Ghanaian institution or individuals here who will invest here. So that is why we are crazy about local content. It is billions of dollars. And no sector in this country compares. Small scale sector alone dwarfs cocoa. I'm telling you. Small scale sector dwarfs cocoa. We can be getting more than $2 billion annually from small scale mining. We just have to do it well. I brought some video on responsible mining in some area in Upper East. Right. Maybe during the short break, if they can load it, we'll show it. So that is why we brought this local content law. And a lot of people have become rich. People are opening up businesses and they are okay. So that is it. If we don't get, now, if you take Africa, everybody is coming to learn from us. That is that. So that's the bottom line.
All right. So let's now once you have done the recap and you have told us about all the money that can be made and how people can become richer and the money will stay in Ghana. I guess the big question is, how does a Ghanaian or a Ghanaian company be able to participate with all the local content opportunities that have been created by the Minerals Commission?
Ronnie, thank you so much. In the first place, no company, individual entity, lawyers will say howsoever described, can do business with any mining company in Ghana unless you are registered by the Minerals Commission. For example, you can't get up today and say you own a petrol station, so you are going to sell fuel to Newmont or Growthos. They won't mind you. They will tell you, go and get registered with Minerals Commission. So I want to underscore that first. You can't do any business with the mining companies unless you are registered by Minerals Commission. I'll take you through the requirements. And then let me also indicate that we do that for 3 reasons. 1, we want to know the impact of the mining sector in the economy. So for instance, apart from those who are directly involved at the mining operations there, what other jobs are being created by the mining company? Okay, so if somebody has set up and is providing a particular, so if you're a caterer, you have a job at Newmont, together you are servicing about 1,000 people. You've taken workers and they should do all these things. What it simply means is that, but for the mining, you will not have this job. So we will have to group all these things when it comes to employment. That's why we say direct and indirect. So it helps us to get the actual statistics, to know the real impact of mining. That is 1. 2, then you also get data for planning purposes. Okay? And then the most important thing, it will inform how you design your policies. So we just realized that in 2019, over $100 million was spent by the companies in buying fuel, okay, for their various plant equipment and machinery and lubricants. Then we started asking ourselves, hey, why are we allowing foreigners to do this thing? You understand? Hey. Now, you will not be able to know all these things if you don't register the various entities or persons that go to work at the mine. How do you get the data? So we are able to tell you everything that is happening in the mining sector. So that is the beginning. Now, for the services, they are in 3 categories. We have category A, that is, I'll give examples. We have category A that is open to anybody. So you can come from Nigeria, you can come from UK, Australia, and come and participate. Eventually, we'll move some from A to B and C as capacity grows. Then category B, solely for Ghanaians. So for instance, security, catering services, haulage. Let me just explain this 3. So we are saying that if a mining company wants to outsource security at the mine, you know, gold is the main thing. It's a very sensitive thing. I mean, just a little piece, that's a lot of money. So all those, just like I saw some security guys at the entrance here, even directing where we should park our car. Those categories, until recently, I think until 2019, you had companies from South Africa that came here, registered, and they were hiring Ghanaians to provide security at the various mines in Ghana. Now we are saying no. So that is in category B. Catering services. If you want to cook for the mine, they are somewhere in the bush there. Sometimes the nearest town and the mine is about 40, 50 kilometers. You can't come to town and eat. That's why they build bungalows and put everything on site. So they will need a caterer, a professional one, to come in there and then provide all their food. You have to recruit people from the town, bus them, they serve them, everything, you go back. It's only Ghanaians who can do that. Or haulage. So manganese, until we get to the smelting state where we'll smelt the manganese, or it's quite expensive, we are working at that. When they mine, they have to transport it to the port of Takoradi. The railway lines are not in the best shape. That's what we've been using for centuries. Now they have to haul. So haulage, pick it from the mine and take it to the port before it is exported. We are saying give it to Ghanaians. So people can go and get trucks and they get into that space. These are all for Ghanaians, category B. Then we also have the 3rd category. I'll come back to A. You have the 3rd category, that is a local, where we have decided that for certain types of goods and services, you cannot even just give it to a Ghanaian. You have to give it to a Ghanaian who is living in the community. Look, the understanding is that, look, they lose their lands. They bear the brunt of many of the operations. That's one. And then 2, minor stuff. So if you want some plumbing to be done, painting, supply of stationery, and certain civil works not exceeding certain quantum, you give it to the people there. So if you, and we check, they have to run all these things by us. As I keep telling you, the fines are very serious. Last year, we fined a company $2 million and they paid. We don't get obsessed with that, but just to tell you that they have to do the right thing. And then most of the jobs will have to go to the community. So let me ask you, if a mine is open in somewhere in, let's say, Rara, where I come from, why should you come and take a driver from Accra?
Unless there are no drivers.
I mean, why? Driver. Okay? I'm not belittling that, but driver. Or you want 100 people, a caterer, anybody.
Kitchen hands.
Yeah, anybody can, apply for the catering job. Any Ghanaian living anywhere. But then for God's sake, if you need 50 or 100 people now to serve, go out to the community there, those SSS and GSS graduates, hire them. 500 Ghana, 800 Ghana, 1,000 Ghana is a lot of money in the community. I went to a funeral and people were donating 5 cedis, 2 cedis, etc. So why will you, the caterer, having gotten the job, bring people from Accra and take them to the mine site? They'll write petition to us. So some of the jobs are solely preserved for, what do you call it, those in the district, those in the vicinity. That's how it should go. Of course, it's not everybody who can work in the mine. So if you cannot get a job in the mine, we have to invest in agriculture. So if I'll come and talk about what Cardinal will be doing for agriculture in the Talensi area, for instance. So that is a local. And then I've talked about category B and then the A. Now the A is a big thing. Contract mining, explosives, grinding media, and all those big stuff. Building a tailing support facility or dam. Those are big stuff. They run into millions of dollars. I just realized that a tailings dam is being built at a mine costing $72 million. $72 million. Oh. And this is what hitherto Australians will come and do here. So those are the 3 categories. Now, A and B, the requirements are the same. 10. Don't be worried about the numbers. 10. Some of the things are, then I'll get into C. The difference between A and B is just that some items on the A list are open to foreigners. And then how much you pay in the fee. So the first thing is that you have to incorporate a company. No company will give, a mining company will give a job to an individual. So you have to set up maybe Randiabe something Ghana Limited. So you have to go to Register General and incorporate a company. Basic. That's number 1. 2, you will have to buy an application form. Okay? From the Minerals Commission. You can get it online. You have a form to fill and say, Randiabe Ghana Limited, I want to provide the following services, your name, your address, who you are, those things. So that's number 2, application form.
But it's not free.
It's not free. I'll come to the cost.
Okay.
Then, SNIT clearance. They need to register you, SNIT. It's basic now. Okay? Then you have to be registered for VAT and then GRA tax clearance. So tax, VAT, SNIT, application form, and then a company properly incorporated under our law. That's 5. These are basic. We call them statutory. Then the other supporting documents, the remaining 5, that's what I'm coming to talk about that. 1, you need a business plan. So if you want to go into contract mining, you need to give us a business plan. Fortunately, we have a template. So we don't want a situation where you just write anything and then you bring in and say, no, change here, do this and keep going back and forth. So when we give them a template.
Which is a guide.
A guide. What should go into your business plan. So that is that. So that takes it to 6. Then, of course, we need a bank statement. If you're going to build a TSF that costs $50 million, or you're going to do contract money that runs into billions, it's not by some fly-by-night person. You should show evidence that you have the financial capacity. So a letter from a bank or your sponsors, whatever. So we need that. Now,
not necessarily money in your account, but your ability to attract the funding to execute.
You just demonstrate your financial capacity.
Okay.
Like if somebody wants to apply for a prospecting license to do mining, we ask for technical, so you need a CV of your geologist. Then you have to show us financial, capacity. You can get a letter from a bank, or even say this mining company will be our sponsor. So that is that. So bank statements or evidence that you have fund to do that activity. Or else anybody can just get in. That is not to say we are using that to shut the door. Then if you're a company that has been operating over the years, we need your audited accounts. We don't want people to take jobs, the next minute they have collapsed.
And if I'm a new company?
If you're a new company, that's fine. I mean, you are a new company. Again, the next one even answers your question. We'll need an annual report, okay, of your activities. You understand? And so if you are in the oil and gas space and then you want to get into mining, you say you've been there for the five years. We want to see, I mean, the kind of job you're
Is
doing.
it to suggest that I'm watching you this morning? I'm a Ghanaian. I've been thinking of ways to get into some business, supply or something. I hear you. I do not have any prior experience, but I'm listening to you, or I'm watching you. And I thought that, on the basis of what I've heard, I'll go and register a company. I'll be interested in maybe providing catering services because I'm either a caterer or I know some caterers I can put together. But I have no prior experience with a job. I can't register with you?
You can register with us. You don't need any experience.
Because I won't be able to provide you with an annual report. I won't be able to provide you with a bank statement beyond the one that I just opened with the bank. I will not be able to, yes, I can open a VAT and a GRA and SNATE and all that. But there might be things that...
If you don't have a bank account or whatever, I mean, there are certain things we can waive or we can just be liberal.
Give me time to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, so that is it. And then the CVs of your key persons.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. For the category C, that's the local people. Of course, you cannot ask a plumber for a business plan.
Yes.
So they also need the statutory things. SNATE, VAT. These days you have to get everybody registered. SNATE, VAT, GRA, tax clearance and all those things. And then the application, we have waived the processing fee for them.
Okay.
Yes. And then the annual fee is 1,200 Ghana cedis. So if you add that
that's
to
like category C.
yes, local, I mean plumber and all those, even though some of these things they get big jobs, sometimes minor repairs, you need him to come and fix some roof or some one or two things. So the whole year is about 1,200. It's renewable every year. If you add the application form, anything between 1,700 or barely, it's not more than 2,000 Ghana cedis for the category C people. Now this is what we've done, and I instituted that. They wrote a petition. In fact, they even have an association. So you have the likes of they are in Obuasi, they are in Takwa. So they petitioned us and said, look, I hear Newmont is about giving a tender. They normally advertise these things in the papers or in the local area. Once you are registered, they have your name. So they will send it out. They say, oh, we want plumbers to come and do this way. So come and bid or something. So if you come to me today is Thursday, and you say, oh, Newmont is looking for plumbers or electricians to do some minor works. It is closing tomorrow. I've been told if I'm not registered with Minerals Commission, I can't do it. You know what we have done for them? All that we require is for you to just buy the form and lodge an application. Then we'll send an email to the company that Randy Abbey Enterprise has lodged an application. Please allow him to, get into the tendering process. Even where he wins, you can allow him to start work. So we bend backwards. Even the Ghanaians in category B who are doing catering haulage. Because sometimes you can be in the office and then someone will just bring a document and say, CEO, I have just been given a contract by Newmont or Goldfields. They said I can only start if I'm registered. I'm told I have to start next week. All that I tell them is that lodge an application, go and start work. Because for Newmont to give you that work, it means that they know you or they've examined you. Or somehow you've been working in other areas and then you put in a bid. So for the Ghanaian, areas that we've restricted for them, we've been able to bend backwards just to accommodate them. Because you see, the mining company will not wait for you. He wants you to start. The price of gold can fall even by $50 a day. And he has scheduled himself that maybe by June, the plan should be working. He will not wait for you. You understand? And then you'll be going back and forth with your business plan with Minerals Commission. No. And they know. I mean, they can call in and they'll admit that when it comes to making things flexible for the Ghanaian businesses in the mining space, we do that. Unless it doesn't get to me, we work on it. It's the foreigners that we, that is not to say that we have lowered the standards. So by and large, that is it. If you want to do contract mining, the application is $250, CD equivalent, and then CD equivalent of $500 for processing. And then, of course, once we go to the processing and registered, it's $10,000. That is no money for somebody who is going to do contract mining. Yeah, so we look at the activity and then we apply the fee. Of course, we don't charge from the sky. These things are taken to Parliament, it's approved for us. So look at $10,000 that you need to pay to get registered to do contract mining vis-a-vis 1,200 Ghana cedis for a local guy.
So are all this supposed to be done online or
online?
You encourage people to go to your offices in the districts and the regions to perhaps get some further guidance by your personnel?
Effective January last year.
2022?
Yes, 2022. We started the trials in 2020. We went online November 2021. We did the trials, we got inputs and comments. Then we went fully online 1st January 2022. So applications are supposed to be done online. But if anybody walks into the offices of Minerals Commission today, we'll do it for you.
And you are everywhere?
Yes, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. We are expanding. Practically, we are in most regions now. And particularly in the mining areas, we are there. That is it. It's not a difficult thing. And you even pay online. Ghana Gov, the platform. Yes, small scale. We are everywhere. Yes, that is it.
Now, as often said, and I've repeated it, that in this country, our problem is not enactment. Our problem is enforcement. And in the jurisdictions that we want to be like, they see law as enforcement, not enactment. So there's one thing having all the amendments and the changes, the local content law, having first edition, second edition, fourth edition, fifth edition. But without enforcement, it really is useless. So I'm sure that we would be interested in enforcement and therefore compliance. Because without that, the intentions for all the things that you've done really will come to naught.
Randy, let me tell you this. I think I've repeated. I said it the last time, I'll repeat it. We are not talking about Galamsey here, where things are not the way we want. The local content rules are so stringent. The companies will not go around it.
You have the capacity to
We have
monitor
enough capacity to monitor. They know. The fines are so heavy. I'm not obsessed with fining companies, but they know the slightest mistake, you get fined. We find them all the time. I told you last year, a company paid $2 million just by not meeting the requirements. And they didn't inform us. They know. All over the industry, they know. You understand that? We had a meeting with them in October at Peduasi, all the CEOs. That is a new list. 1st January, we published it. It took effect. Then a company's contract with a foreign company for medical services was expiring in December. They have given the job to the Ghanaian company. We know them. So the South African company has lost a job. And we are proud about that. Because I keep repeating, why will you go and sign a company with a mining contract with a South African company to provide medical services that run into millions of dollars? You are not bringing doctors from South Africa. Because if you're a foreign doctor, you cannot just get in. You have to
license.
You have to be licensed here properly, like law. Then that company will employ Ghanaian doctors, nurses, and all the allied health professionals to work at the mine site. As a nation, or the accounts will say, Okoya now buy. They were doing this thing over the years, and we discovered it. So God knows how many, millions of dollars have left this country. So you see, medical services, the Australians dominated contract mining. Okay, AUMS and AMS. They were doing it. And they can sign 5-year contract running into billions of dollars. Okay, so they hire people. So I do off my heart for those Ghanaians who got jobs with these Australian companies, and then, as we say, small, few, they build themselves. We used to have just about one company or so the last 20 or 25 years. Now I can give you more than 15 companies. I'll give you a scenario. Cardinal Mine, when they wanted to do the whole roads, they wanted to give it to the Chinese. Haul roads. Not road that you put coal tar on it. Haul roads. We got rid of it and we told them, if you like, mess with us. Quickly, they pull the brakes. Because they advertise, we call for the tenders, we check these things. Okay, even ahead of submitting the report to us, the Ghanaians elected us. Eventually, a Ghanaian who comes from that vicinity, I think some burger contractor, got a job and did it perfectly. Okay? We didn't put civil works on it for the fun of it. I mean, we should allow foreigners to come and construct these bungalows. They're going to put up a lot of bungalows there for the staff and people on site. So civil works is also on the list for Ghanaians. That was added last year. So that is it. I don't know whether you have time for me to look at the video.
Yeah, so what we're actually showing now, what is it?
So Randy, you see the government has been talking about responsible mining. That we could do small scale responsibly. So this is Bongo in Upper East region.
So much, you know what we'll do? Because we're out of time.
Yes.
We'll leave this.
All right.
Next week we'll focus on
talk about it.
mining.
But let viewers see the gold.
Yes.
Gold that has been mined responsibly.
Is it this one?
Yes. So this is gold. When we took the gold catcher to them, we gave them 2 gold
that's
catchers.
a yellow thing.
Yes, that is it. That is gold. You said you have not seen gold before. So this is Bongo. This one, you just pick the nugget from there. Okay. And this is underground, small scale. It's not by water body, whatever. So that is it.
Okay. So next week we'll focus on responsible mining, and Mr. Martin Ayisi will take us through it. Thanks again for your time. I tend to overindulge when you are here, and I always go beyond my time. But
those guys took my time.
Yes. The politicians.
Yes.
Anyway, so thanks for joining us once again.
All right.
And, we'll see you next Thursday.
All right. Next Thursday, I'll not be around.
Okay.
I'm attending a program, so it will be the other
one. Okay.
The other week.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll be here. We'll be here to see you. And,
okay.
Please extend our birthday wishes to your deputy as well. So that'll be it. Up next, Metro Sports.